just like that. There's no pre-screen. 3, 2, 1.
There's no lead in.
And then we're live. Nah. So you're joining me again.
I am here.
This is the second week in a row.
I know you're
Like, are
excited.
people going to handle it?
I don't know. Your people don't like me.
Some loved last week, though. I didn't get too much hate last week.
I'm surprised.
I thought I was going to get
they
a lot
probably didn't
more
listen.
No, I got an overwhelming positive response from last week.
Well,
which was crazy. I didn't expect that.
Maybe people are coming around.
I think maybe because you're here with makeup on, all done up, right? Then that makes everything better.
But my hair's in a ponytail today because...
Oh, shit. That means hate.
I think I don't know. Based on our last podcast, I think... Yeah, I haven't showered in like 3 days.
Well, at least it's been
my
hot,
hair.
Yeah.
My hair. Yeah. My body, yes.
Yeah.
People, but my hair, no.
Yeah.
So what's up?
We are big. What's up? So, Kareem Hunt. Domestic violence against women, other people, men against men, whatever, dude. We're going to hit it today.
This isn't, it's an interesting topic. And obviously, if you watch any Sports Center, any ESPN, any sports outlet, the topic's already been covered a million times all day long.
Yes.
We may say some things that have already been said. I'm sure we will. And some things I'm for sure have not been said because I think, especially in domestic violence, of course, I'm totally against it, but you have to be very, very careful with what you say. Because if it's anything leaning towards not supporting a victim 100%, you're trashed.
Right.
And that's the reality of it. So we'll delve into that. For those who don't know, some people don't follow sports, but so Kareem Hunt, who was a member of the Kansas City Chiefs, I think this is back in February.
Yeah, it happened in February.
There was an incident at a hotel.
His residence, actually. They keep saying hotel, but he says it's his residence.
Okay, it's his residence.
So, yeah.
So apparently what happened was him and his friends were out drinking, and I don't know if they were on a party bus, if they were in a car or whatever, they were out partying, I think drinking with some girls. They went back to his residence. And then it was discovered that at least one of the girls was underage. She was 19.
Yeah. Under drinking age.
19. And he wasn't having it. So he kicked him out. Go, blah, blah. I don't know if there was a not altercation, but disagreement then, or they didn't want to go. So they ended up leaving. Mm-hmm. But the story is that they were being a pain in the butt, yelling outside in the hallway, banging on the door, acting a fool. Just wouldn't leave.
Right.
At some point, the police were called.
Yes.
And I'm sorry I didn't refresh myself on the story. I don't remember if he called the police or they called the police. At some point, security or police was called. Before police got there, he came out.
Yeah.
He came to the other side of the door. He came out into the hallway, and words were said. Supposedly, she yelled some sort of racial slur at him.
Right. And we don't, from what I haven't seen any report of what exactly she said.
I haven't seen that yet either. And I did not watch the body cam footage from the police of where they both made their statements.
Okay. Is that released now?
I believe it was either released or I saw that
somebody's seen it.
Somebody's seen it.
Somebody's seen it. Yeah.
But I didn't delve into that.
Yeah.
So
pushing, shoving.
So he one person was in front of him and he shoved her kind of get out of here, with one hand, right? And then she starts yelling back, blah, 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 blah. And then a friend kind of pushes him back into the doorway. Hey, come on, man. Whatever. There's no sound on this, so I don't know what's going on. So I think it's one of his friends is facing her and facing away from him and kind of telling her hey, just chill, just go, whatever. He shoves the guy into her. She falls to the ground. Then as Kareem Hunt's coming back at her, yelling. She yells something, and there's a friend in between, a girl. I don't know whose friend it was, in between them. And as he's being, kind of pushed back again, he kicks her.
Yeah.
Right, wrong, or indifferent, it wasn't very hard, but he kicked her.
Yeah, he kicked her, but kicked at her, that whole type of deal. The police reports, I don't know that the police report is released, so this is all hearsay from people who say they have seen it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Other officials, things of that nature. They're saying the girl that we're talking about is not being very cooperative with police. Mm-hmm. It is not a felony. It's a misdemeanor matter. So that's a city level thing. So they didn't investigate it fully. because it wasn't a felony. The other girl said that Kareem started demanding they leave when the girl who was kicked didn't want to be with them.
Okay, so that's hearsay.
So that's hearsay. I mean, none of this is under testimony. None of this is under oath, right? None of it. So
regardless of whatever the reason was, that's what was said.
Apparently, one of the girls didn't want to have sex with one of the guys, and that's when it was time to leave.
Okay, so what doesn't make sense to me, and again, I'm asking.
Yeah, I'm not justifying it.
I'm not justifying anything. I'm trying to. I'm a private investigator, so I want to get into the story. I want to figure out where all the pieces match and don't match. If you didn't want anything to do with them when he kicked you out, why didn't you not just leave? Why are you hanging outside for half an hour, yelling, banging on the door? Right. Why didn't you just leave?
Right. Okay,
so that's a question I have. Had there been no assault, we're very, especially now, the racial tension is high. So if there was no assault and she yelled the N-word or something at him, this would be a completely different story. So again, I'm not justifying, but what did she say? Right? Because that's wrong too. I'm not justifying the kicking her, but okay, so my whole point of this is the track I'm going down is accountability.
Right.
Right? She did not deserve to get kicked. She did not deserve to get punched. Whatever. I'm going to say that right now. But we'll get into this a little bit later. We have to stop as women. We can't use the excuse of you can't hit me, you can't push me because you're a man, you're bigger and stronger than me. If I'm poking you to the point where you want to hit me. Now,
right.
There's going to be this argument of, well, he's a man, you got to know better. Right, but I also have the responsibility to not purposely try to poke you to get a reaction out of you.
Right.
If I slap a man or if I punch a man, if I close my fist and punch a man, I'm sorry, what do I expect? Right? You've got testosterone running through you, the whole thing. And the reason I take this side of it is, as we've said before, we're raising 2 sons.
Right.
And I don't ever want to see a woman get up in his face and be like, F you, you effing P word, and blah, 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 kiss my ass, push, and like, hey, get off me. And because these days you put your hand on a woman.
Yeah.
A lot, sometimes.
We're taking the most dramatic situation.
I'm taking most dramatic. Right. That's assault. You touch me in an unwanted way, that's assault. Yeah. Right? It's your word against mine. You're a big guy. You touched me. And then it turns into, I don't care what you said. You should not have touched her. Well, at one point, like I said in this analogy, I'm not going to jump into a bear cage. What do I think is going to happen?
Exactly.
Right? I can argue with you and whatever, but at some point I have to be responsible for what I'm asking for.
Yeah, and we've talked about this obviously ad nauseum, not just this situation, but even ones before and throughout, our decade-plus relationship. We've talked about these things a lot of times. There has to be responsibility with all parties involved. Mm-hmm. There's a difference between a heated argument and, I don't want to say poking at somebody or pushing buttons. I don't want to go to that point, but as we know, it is now an accepted thing in society that words are attacks. Mm-hmm. And now, especially with the younger generation, that's what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with 19-year-olds, and then Kareem is 24, 25. He's young, right? So he's part of that younger generation that words are attacks. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So if the words are the same thing as throwing a punch. So because that's their reality, and we know that to be true. It's all there. You can scream and yell, but there's a difference between a heated argument or heated dispute and then being aggressive.
Right.
If you're aggressive towards another human being in this age where we keep talking about we want to increase equality, mm-hmm. either you're equal or you're not. Mm-hmm. So if you are a smaller person or a bigger person or an equal-sized person, because again, we're not talking race, gender, any of that kind of crap. It's just equality. And you attack or you're aggressive towards another human being, you have to expect a realistic response is going to be aggression back.
Right. So, as we've said, words are just words, right? So when we talk about, we've discussed NFL players especially,
Right.
they have classes, they have all kinds of things where they're like, hey, you are a target.
Right.
People are going to try to push your buttons. They're going to try to sleep with you. They're going to try to get in your group. They're going to try to whatever because they know it's a big payday.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody, but it happens. Let's be real.
Yeah.
It does happen. So unfortunately, that's the good and the bad of being a professional athlete. People are going to poke you. They're going to say things, and you have to. That's why I have hopefully good enough friends to be like, hey,
right.
Let's not.
That's it's something that's been discussed and shared. Now, I don't know how older players were grandfathered in, but today's NFL, there are prior security people, prior military people, prior prosecutors, and such that are staffed with the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
That current players are required to take courses on how to de-escalate situations, what to do to protect
Mm-hmm.
yourself, who you need with you, who you need around you, and these are all required courses.
Okay.
And required things. So in the situation with this one with Kareem Hunt, I'm going to steal something that Jason Whitaker said on his show.
Mm-hmm.
He said someone needed to be there to tackle Kareem Hunt and shut him up.
Yeah.
Be it private security, be it the friends he hangs around with, be it with somebody, any of these things. As a professional athlete, as a movie star, as anyone that is famous in quotations, like you just said, you're a target. You have to put yourself in a position to best protect you, your interest, your business, your
Right.
brand, your company,
Right.
because you are it.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I had said before with Kareem Hunt, the door was closed. It was done.
He should not have come back out.
They're screaming and yelling, and if it's hotel or his residence or whatever, there's got to be security there. There's got to be staff there that can come up until the police arrive. There's other situations.
He wasn't threatened. That's what it comes down to.
Exactly.
He was his persons, his being, his whatever, his house. He was not being threatened. There was no
Right.
need for him to come out.
Right.
So he made that mistake. Everything else after that was a mistake too. So let's trace back so people know what happened, right? So apparently they both talked to the cops.
Mm-hmm.
I think she wanted to press charges. She wanted to see the video and they wouldn't let her see it.
Correct.
And the police didn't request the video because it wasn't a felony. It was a misdemeanor. Based on everything that was said,
Right.
It was a misdemeanor. The Kansas City Chiefs were made aware of the incident. They spoke with Kareem and the police, maybe? I don't remember.
Other parties involved, but not the girl.
Other parties involved, and determined that nothing happened.
Right.
Nothing happened. It wasn't worth it. The league then got involved, and they did a quote investigation.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where everybody's getting upset. They did not speak to Kareem, and they did not speak to the girl.
Right.
So what kind of investigation was it? They determined on their own that it wasn't worth looking into.
And the NFL messes up a lot of things. I'm going to have to defend them on this one because the Chiefs requested that the NFL not be a part of it. Right. So the Chiefs organization told the NFL, look, we've got it. Here's the deal. Here's the situation. So my understanding of the investigation is the NFL spoke to the Chiefs and the Chiefs were like, hey, the police report said this. Kareem said this. All these other people said this. It's a misdemeanor situation. There's no charges. There's nothing going on. So basically.
So there were no charges pressed.
No charges have been pressed as of yesterday.
Why?
It's up to, I don't know now because you have all the state things, right? So and the police said it's a city matter. So it would be a Cleveland matter. I don't know the laws in Cleveland.
Okay.
So is it a situation, because some states and cities and precincts and jurisdictions have the deal to where you don't need the cooperation of, in the situation of the girl to prosecute.
Okay.
But she is not cooperating and she is not pressing charges as of now. So to take one step back before that, I believe the NFL kind of did what they were supposed to do. They asked for the video. They didn't get it.
TMZ got it.
TMZ got it. Yeah. Shocking. Not really. There's easy reasons for that.
Right.
But, so the NFL did, hey, what's going on? Hey, police, the worst case scenario, it's a misdemeanor situation. Nobody's pressing charges. Nobody's doing anything.
So
okay.
handle it on your
pass. Got
right,
it. Like,
right.
why put more resources and time and stuff into a situation where there's no fire, where there appears to be no fire? And nobody said anything, did anything until this video was released last week.
But I think they said somewhere along the way that they knew, I think that, I don't know if the Chiefs knew, but either the league and the Chiefs or both or one or the other knew that there was a video, but nobody tried to obtain it.
No, people, I believe people did try to obtain it, but NFL doesn't have subpoena power. The
Correct.
Chiefs don't have subpoena power. The girl involved doesn't have subpoena power.
So it's just a matter of the residents got enough money from TMZ that they forked it over.
Sure, yeah. I mean, that's all it is.
Because you don't have to, any private business, I don't have to give you my security footage. The police aren't, it's not being subpoenaed, so I don't have to give it to you for any reason.
Right.
So the money was right.
Yeah.
Is what you're basically telling me. So everyone's up in arms of the quote unquote investigation, the punishment. And this is the next thing I want to dive into because it's people aren't going to like mine or our opinion, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So he was basically suspended from all activity. Can't go to practice, can't go to, he's basically done, right?
Yeah, commissioner's exempt list is
exempt list.
Yeah, that's where he was placed.
Okay.
So he can't do anything.
Our discussion yesterday was in the NFL's a business, right? It's up to them to determine what the punishment is and what weight the court of public opinion gives their business.
Yes, within the guidelines of their bylaws.
Within the guidelines of their bylaws. So the NFL is made up of a lot of different people from all walks of life.
Yes.
Right? So there's a high percentage of them, not all high percentage. Let me take that back. Let me backtrack. There is a certain number of them who are not angels.
Right. A significant amount of them are not angels.
They're not. So there's all different levels of what's been done, from drugs to guns. We've had people kill people during DUIs. We've had domestic violence,
straight murder,
all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just becoming the trend. What I'm scared of is now it's just becoming the trend of, because of social media, if the court of public opinion determines that we don't like that, that's when they take swift action and they end somebody's career. You didn't have a problem when your star or whoever got drunk and killed somebody in a DUI,
right,
which is against the law, and you killed somebody. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, it's a big deal, but I didn't hear anything about it after like the first few stories. This is a big deal. And of course, because it involves domestic violence. Is it the NFL's job to say, we take a firm stance on domestic violence, zero tolerance. If you hit a woman, if you touch a woman, if you're out, right? Is it their responsibility to do that? Or do we just take a blanket statement and say, look, there's different levels of everything, of like you touched on yesterday. Did you have a joint, or did you have did you have intent to sell? Right. So levels of, okay, do we have proof? Because as we know, people lie all the time.
Yeah,
right?
all the time.
It's your word against mine. So if there's an accusation, if there's whatever, if it just makes the company look bad or whatever, is it all right? There's a fine. Then if it's, are there charges? Then if it's, is there video? Because now I have proof. I have visual proof that you committed domestic violence against this woman. That's 4 games and a fine.
Right.
And then and not taking somebody's livelihood. I don't.
Yeah, and that's, we talk about this all the time, and this is, both sides of the story are right. Is playing in the NFL a right, a privilege, a gift? What is that? Because you do, as an athlete, you pour your life into it. It's everything you do, right?
Yeah.
It's just a unique situation, is the way I look at it. You have the right to play in the NFL, just like they have the right to fire you, just like all of these other things that are encompassed in it. But it is such a massive privilege to be paid millions of dollars to play a game.
Correct.
To play a game. And I don't care how you slice it, it's playing a game, right? So in that, I think comes a different set of responsibilities as to someone who earns that same type of money or makes that same type of money as a CEO, who isn't famous, who isn't these things, who does work works more hours per week than an athlete plays, including film footage, including practice, including all these things. A CEO is going to put more hours in than a football player for the most part, unless you're, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, those types of people who live it 100%. And I'm not talking about college coaches. Generally speaking, as professional athletes, it's a different standard. It's a different standard. The NFL has going to the discipline type thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think the NFL needs to come out and take a zero tolerance policy. And as we discussed yesterday, zero tolerance doesn't mean you do something in quotations once and you're gone forever.
Mm-hmm.
Like this situation. Take Kareem Hunt because it's staying on topic. Nobody pressed charges. It's a misdemeanor. It's his first time offense. From all accounts that I've looked at and read and tried to research, he doesn't have any history of this. Of those
things. He supposedly punched like a guy in June.
Yeah,
but
again, there's a supposedly, and there's no,
right.
So this may be him, but he hasn't been caught at it.
Correct.
This is the first time he's been caught doing this.
Okay.
Be it him or be it not, he's a first time offender in this regard. There's a gradient to assault. There's a gradient to domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
There's a gradient to these things. And is what he did wrong? Yes. Is what he did career ending? I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. The girl didn't think so.
Right. And
nobody was actually, from what I can tell from the reports, no one was actually physically harmed.
She had a couple scrapes on her knee.
You know what I'm saying? But
from falling down.
Right. So, I mean, nothing you couldn't get from turning a quarter too sharp around a granite wall. Does that make sense? Like just simply this easy things. Nobody was really harmed. No charges are pressed. None of these things are happening. So some of the things that I said, force them to take a couple of the classes, do things like, here's your penalty. Lowest grade deal. It's $100,000, $200,000 fine, 1 to 2 game suspension per incident. Right. Mm-hmm. So this one, we've got a video. He by definition, he assaulted 2 people. Mm-hmm. $200,000 fine, 2 to 4 game suspension. You're done. You get caught again, everything's doubled. 0 tolerance. If the exact same situation happens 3, 4, 5 years from now, and he's still playing in the NFL, now it's not a $200,004 game. Now it's a $400,008 game. Mm-hmm. And then you get caught on the third time. This is if teams are giving you the chances. Mm-hmm. Now the third time is it's not 408. Now it's 800,016 games.
Because some people would argue, they make millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. Why should we keep letting this guy who clearly has a problem, because just like drinking and driving, it's not the first time you've done it.
Right.
So we just keep letting you make millions of dollars. And I say yes in a way, because like anything else, again, drinking and driving or whatever it is, there's a reason they have different levels of probation.
Right.
They have, you got to take classes. It's not immediately send you to jail.
Right.
It sucks, but how am I going to make a living? This is where the learning comes in. That's part of it.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have to learn that there are consequences, but your life's not over, because a lot of these guys, they don't have anything else to fall back on, and they probably haven't put a lot back.
Right.
I don't know that for sure. I've got to be making this shit
Some
up.
do, some don't. It's all over the spectrum.
So, we don't agree. I don't agree it should be career ending. Of course, this all came to the limelight when the Ray Rice situation happened.
Right.
And that was another one that we talked about yesterday, because it was a situation that, yes, the video was disgusting. Mm-hmm. But what do you do when the wife's okay with it? She's still with him. Even today, yeah. She was kind of the aggressor, I think. Like, she kind of started that, right, wrong, or indifferent. My point is, should that have ended his career? If she's clearly fine with it. And again, some people will argue, well, yes, but especially if you're a victim of domestic violence, a lot of times women will stay.
Yeah.
And especially if you have a big paycheck.
Yeah.
I'm going to, for all kinds of reasons, whether it's the money or just the psychology of it, of that weird relationship they have with the abuser, that they don't want to leave. So the forgiving, it doesn't really hold that much weight.
Right. And that's true, because you don't know how genuine and authentic her accepting of the apology or the forgiveness is, or her
you
staying
never know.
with it. You don't know.
Take Kobe. Not domestic violence, but he admitted he cheated on her.
Yeah.
And she stood by him.
Yeah.
Does she really believe him, or does she really still support him, or does she just really like being married to Kobe Bryant and have a lot of money?
And that's arguable.
It is, and it's none of my business, but it's just the point. You just don't know.
Right.
You don't know, because I know a lot of women who like being married to the money.
Yeah, and so I think it not to go into that one too deep. I think because you'll never truly know, you have to take it at face value.
Right.
Because what else do you truly have to argue it other than speculation?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to argue it on speculation, well, then we could speculate all day long, and we can end people's careers for things they've never done. Right? I mean, seriously, if we're going to put weight on speculation,
yeah,
then
the NFL is a very interesting business, that because it's entertainment, and because we have these idols.
Yeah.
And there's money and all kinds of stuff. People pick and choose where they want to turn their head.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly it. And this is a big one because he's a star player. Mm-hmm. He's not a nobody. He's not washed up. He's not too old. No. He's not injured. He's not any of these things. He is a player that's kicking ass, taking names, and in his prime. I mean, he could get better. I don't know, but I'm just saying he appears to be in his prime.
So do you think the Chiefs did the right thing? Do you think they let him go because he lied? Or because the video came out and they felt like they had to do something?
Yes, both. I think this. I think in everyone's defense of the situation, no one interviewed, including the girl, including the police report, described the extent of what the video showed.
Oh.
No one. Okay, so no one. So there's blurry there. Kareem Hunt didn't express to the Chiefs that he kicked her. I think without quoting, because I'll screw up quotes, but he had let them know that there was pushing and yelling and shoving, but the kick never was discussed. And that apparently was the deal breaker. The NFL hangs their coat or their hat on this hook of telling the truth or not. Okay. Telling the truth is a really great thing. We talked about this. There was a situation. I'm pretty sure they were intoxicated at some level. Mm-hmm. They maybe have had some drugs in them at some level. Mm-hmm. We don't know. How much do they really, really remember?
They look pretty lucid. I think that was some of some of what was being said.
It appeared that way, and I don't know. I don't know this if the report came out or anything like that saying that they did or didn't have drugs in them. Mm-hmm. It was clearly an aggressive situation.
Right.
When he kicked at her, did he know he contacted her or not? I don't know.
It didn't look like a hard kick, and I'm not agreeing with it. But if I'm playing devil's advocate, just kind of like you do it anyway. Like get the F out of here.
Yeah.
It
was more of a shoo away.
Yeah.
Than it was like I'm trying to.
He wasn't trying to stomp her face into the ground. Right. No. So, again, don't agree with it. But what does he remember? He remembers contacting her. Yes, there was pushing and shoving. He admitted to that, but at what point do we care? Because we've talked about PEDs, steroids. Mm-hmm. Stop kidding yourself if you think a lot of these guys don't take some sort of drugs for recovery, for performance, whatever. Yeah. You cannot play that game at that level
and not
week
have
to
some
week.
Help.
Right? So let's put it this way. It's the same, not the same, but the short time I was with WWE and I saw all of that. Now these guys are going night in and night out, 4 days a week.
Yeah.
It's not real, but they're physically putting their body through a lot.
Yeah.
How much like painkillers and HGH or whatever it was to look the way they looked and to recover the way they had to, and they were in so much pain. I'll say all of them. A lot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So, come on.
Yeah. And that's
Oh, hello. So again, it's where do you act like you care?
And that's what it is it, as we've discussed before. They're all on PEDs of some level or banned substances of some level, right? That's just simply the way it goes and what happens. I don't know. It goes in. It's like this. What's appropriate discipline for these guys? What is it? I don't know what it is.
What is the league minimum? I'm curious.
Salary?
Yeah.
I think it's around $500,000. And now that's practice squad. But then I know like rookie contracts first year, it's really all over the place. But around $500,000 a year.
It's a lot of money.
I want to say I don't believe anyone on an active roster, including bonuses and all the other kind of things that they get, make less than $1 million a year.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Like I said, I think different levels of discipline.
Yeah.
You know, if the league is going to say zero tolerance, you have to define what zero tolerance means.
Well, and that's what zero tolerance, like I said, doesn't mean an incident and you're gone.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Though, is they don't know. Tom Brady gets 4 games for supposedly maybe knowing something about deflated balls. It was more probable than not. That's 4 games.
Yeah.
Ray Rice got what? 4 games? 6?
Well, they went back and modified his. His original was 2. His original was 2 games.
So they have to really clean that up.
Yeah.
Because it's a joke. Right now it's a joke.
But what's right?
Right. And some of it is, it's none of my, it's your business.
Yeah.
You handle how you're going to handle it. So I think they're on shaky ground because there's a lot more women who are consumers now.
Yeah.
Of the NFL. So you have to be real careful not to piss them off.
Right.
They have a lot of the buying power in terms of all the merchandise.
Yeah.
So if you start coming out and being really lax about domestic violence, be careful.
Yeah.
You're going to lose. And
women's buying power is crazy within it. Because it's, if I want to go buy a $200 jersey,
mm-hmm.
and we're in a relationship, obviously, but if a man wants to go buy a $200 jersey and they're in a relationship, guess who says yes or no to that?
The woman.
Almost every time the woman
I
says
forget the statistic, but the Boston Female Fan Association had it out of the percentages of women who actually have the buying power, mm-hmm. that the average NFL fan is about in their 50s, like women.
Yeah.
In their 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
So women, and they know that.
Yeah.
They very much know that. So I think the best thing like anybody can do is say, hey, there's a problem. We may have handled it wrong in the past. Mm-hmm. Let's break it down and really figure this out. So going forward, we can, be consistent.
Right.
Because what else can you say?
And that's they're in a. I don't regret the NFL situation. I don't wish I was there in that type of deal. What's consistent? What's consistent? I don't know what consistent is. Take the situation. Any upper tier NFL player mm-hmm. is standing at Starbucks waiting for their coffee, and an average size female walks up to them, calls them a derogatory name, and punches them square in the nose.
Yeah. Well, now I was assaulted. So
do they get to push?
Right.
Are they allowed an emotional, aggressive, physical response to that?
A human is allowed that response.
Right.
So in that regard, I don't think that's fair. You can't just poke and be like, oh no.
Right. And this isn't even a poke. I'm talking, let's just take that. It's pick any player. That's what I'm saying. Just any middle to up, take any NFL player. Screw it. I was just saying higher end because they'll be more profile, obviously. Mm-hmm. But just walks up and beep, bam, punches closed fist right to the nose mm-hmm. in the middle of a Starbucks where he doesn't have security with him. He might be alone. Mm-hmm. He might just be sitting on his phone. Whatever. Put it around. He's by himself. He doesn't have security with him, and he shoves her hard enough that it clears her from the situation, but she trips and falls and hits her head on the table.
I don't think there should be a...
Today, he's gone.
He's gone, but...
Why? Why? Because he can't... He probably could win a legal lawsuit against that woman. Mm-hmm. She's not going to have the money to pay him.
Correct.
So he's done. His life, his career, everything is over. So what's a consistent punishment?
And that's where it gets difficult when we talk about the different levels of, did you push it? Like you have to look at each thing case by case.
Right.
You really do. But there are some things that are there, right? Mm-hmm. Did you punch somebody? Well, and that's the thing we talk about. Were you on the defensive? Did you throw a punch because you felt threatened? Just like me in my home.
Yeah.
Did I feel threatened or not when you tried to break down my door and I shot you?
Right.
You knocked down my door.
Right.
Yes, I'm going to shoot you.
And that, but
So
see,
it's
to me,
not-
that's a very logical response. And that's not taking anything about size or this or that or any of those types of deals. Is that famous people are targets, especially when you're in sports. Sports are an aggressive thing. Most sports, right? So we're talking football. Football is an aggressive sport, so people are most likely going to be aggressive to you. So if people are aggressive to you, what are you allowed to do? Not from a legal perspective, but from a league perspective.
Well, what do they teach in those classes? Like if somebody, do you know?
They pretty much say, leave, run, don't talk it, don't yell it, don't scream it, don't do anything that could be captured anywhere, don't touch anyone. That's effectively, I'm watering this way down. They're basically just like, it
They don't
doesn't
have a right
matter.
to defend?
Don't. Is it worth
It's
your
just not worth
career?
it.
Is it worth, you know,
Yeah.
20, 30, 40, 50, 60 million dollars, $100 million? How long's your career? Is it worth that? That's basically, and please don't take that verbatim, but that's what they teach.
That's the other problem that I have with this too, is that's why this country has such a twisted system of accountability. They can do that. They have the absolute right to do that, and but I can't defend myself.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
And it goes even, I'm going to say Kobe specifically, but go that direction of not necessarily cheating, but professional athletes having sex with women. Those are involved in those classes. They're like basically, this goes also for different universities and students and things of that nature too. You almost need written consent prior, and then post, you almost need another waiver saying that, yeah, everything happened and I'm cool with it as I leave. Because 20 years later, 10 years later, weeks later, months later, they can come back and be like, nah, he assaulted me. He raped me. And it happens. It doesn't happen on a high volume, but it happens.
False accusations do happen. That's a whole other thing that people hate me for, because I think that people who falsely accuse should be punished.
Yeah.
If you decide you want to take that power to try to destroy somebody's life and you were lying, you should be punished.
And I'll take some of that and relate it back to the Kareem Hunt thing, to stay on topic. He met a guy that was with two girls at a place.
Okay.
They all went back to his private residence, right? What do you think's, I mean, you know, call me sexist, call me racist, call me whatever the hell you want because saying this. What do you think the goal is? It's late. It's super late at night. It's all these things. He doesn't want to have a long discussion with you out under the moonlight.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just being real with it, being honest about it.
But where we're still unsure is what was the catalyst, or what was it? Did he ask them to leave because he found out they were underage, or did he tell them to leave because they didn't want to get down? I don't know that.
Who knows?
Regardless,
the other girl that was there said that they were asked to leave because one of them didn't want to get down with one of the two guys that were there.
He said, she said.
Right.
Regardless, so getting back to it, like we've said, he did not have to come back outside.
Yeah.
He did. They were not gonna hurt him. He did not have to come outside.
Nope.
He did not. It doesn't matter what she said. That's the truth. It doesn't matter what she said. She could have called him anything. Could have called his mom anything.
Yeah.
Like it does not matter. But she has to have some accountability too for the fact that she stayed out there for a half an hour and she was acting an ass. Did she need to be assaulted? Absolutely not.
Right.
Leave.
Yeah. Just
leave.
Just leave.
What were you trying to accomplish?
Just leave. Yeah. Just leave.
What were you trying to accomplish? So everybody sucks in this situation. He sucks the most.
Yeah.
She did not deserve it. I mean, I have to keep saying that because some soundbite's going to come back that I said she deserved it.
I know, right? People can clip it all up and you're screwed.
So the interview that he did with Salters and Ponder,
I watched a decent amount. It was weak.
And that's what I heard. It was weak as shit. And to play devil's advocate, your point was, of course, ahead of any interview, production. There's a production side of it. There's attorneys involved. There's agents involved. And now, as we know, anything that you say can and absolutely will be used against you in a court of public opinion and in a court of law.
Yeah.
So, yes, you can ask these questions. And, hey, Kareem, you can only say these 5 sentences in any fashion that you want to. You're going to apologize. You're going to say it wasn't you. And you're going to say it was absolutely wrong. And that's it.
Yeah. It was, everything he said felt so insanely scripted and unauthentic. I was almost offended. You know, that it's just not me, and that's not how I was raised. And nope, I don't want to discuss what anybody else did or anybody else said. It's all my fault. It's all, you know, all of that type of rhetoric. And I say rhetoric because it was totally unbelievable.
And the questions that were asked were not follow-up questions. The questions to the naked eye, to the non-professional, whatever, they just didn't sound like good questions.
Right. And then even asking questions like, well, did the NFL ever talk to you about this?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't it was, no, they did not.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, it was just that. And then she was like, wow, did they ever see the video? No, they did not.
Oh.
Like, it was just that bad of a role play script read type thing. I was like, what are you guys doing? Like, why even do this interview?
That's what we had that discussion yesterday. I don't know what was the purpose. Like, did he just need to get out and apologize immediately? Like, damage control now. It's gotta be. Get out. Even if they're going to ask you these questions, you talk around it and you just apologize so that it's out there.
Yeah.
Everybody's got to do it.
Yeah.
Kobe had to do it, sit next to his wife. Ray Rice had to do it, sit next to his wife. You have to publicly come out and apologize.
There's just better ways to do it.
What do you think would have been better?
In this situation, because they have to be so particular, he needs to basically post his own story, his own Instagram story, his own little video, and just say it.
I think it would have been, that would have been
production of a Q&A, of an interview, an interrogation, all that kind of stuff, with potential legal proceedings pending. Nobody's filed anything, but the statute of limitations is pretty broad.
Right, but
he's not in the clear.
As we know, the more you give people, the more they can find ways to tear it apart.
Right.
So even if he's as open and honest as possible, I get it. I was wrong in this, that, the other. Here's the way it shook out. You know, A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Yeah.
Now, the prosecution has a lot of what they need to say. Okay, here's what he said here. How do we work around that?
Yeah.
What do we say? How do we get him to? You don't. I get what you're saying. That would have been best. But if there's legal proceedings ahead.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, he's going to have to give those statements anyway in a deposition.
That's what I'm saying. See, so, no matter how you slice it, he's screwed because the video exists.
Yeah.
So build the narrative. Take the control of the statement. Does that make sense? Because you can take multiple cuts. You can try it multiple times. You get your best video that says it exactly the way you want it, and that's what goes out to the world.
Well, I think that's the truth. So if that's the way he does it, even if, you know, whether it's in deposition or cross-examination or whatever the situation is, if it's the truth, there's no worrying about it. There's no dancing around this. Well, you said it. No, what I said was, you're going to remember that. Yeah. It's not going to be this. No, they did not.
Right.
You're not going to be scrambling for something. And somebody who's never been involved in a legal proceeding can get worried or frustrated or anxious when you're being, asked questions. Yeah. So like you're saying, if at least you put the statement out there, it's out there because that's my truth.
Right. And have the transcript, have all that's done. It's gone. Just leave it. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think he should lose his career over it. I'm just going to put it out there. I don't
think he should. And if we're going to talk balanced or appropriate discipline compared to the past, because you always compared to the relative past. I'm not going to go as far back as Ray Rice because they changed a lot after Ray Rice. Okay. So I'll go back to, because Patriots fans, I'll go back to the Brady situation. More probable than not that he might have known something. 4 games, and the team was a $500,000 fine?
Something like that. It was a lot of money. I thought it was $1 million, but...
It could have been. Yeah. I don't remember exactly, right? But 4 games. This is called games. Screw the fine. 4 games for more probable than not he might have known something.
He known something.
Might have known something. Did it not might have been a part of it, might have known something.
We've said they're...
Okay, so if that's the standard, season. Yeah. Season. Because lying is big for the NFL. Uh-huh. That's a big one. They will double, triple your deal if you get caught lying. And then assault, on a woman or not, assault is apparently a big deal for the NFL. Then on a woman, big deal. So I think the minimum is a 4 game for domestic violence. I don't know if this is categorized as domestic violence. Some girl he just met. It's violence in a domicile, but I don't think it falls under domestic violence.
we talked yesterday about there just being different types of violations. Right. So there's things like that, and then there's things that directly affect the game.
Right.
Cheating, bounty gate, whatever, signals, this, that, the other. So that's the other thing too. So then people are going to compare, well, so you're saying that this level of domestic violence is kind of equal to they were stealing signals. I'm not saying that, but you get what I'm saying. So if it directly affects the game, which is what we're doing here, what Bountygate, he got a year, right? He got a whole season.
A season, yeah.
He got an entire season because he's the coach and he should have known.
Right.
I don't even want to get into all that because that pit.
That's crazy.
That's crazy because I'm not a fan of, like we've said before, especially a coach who has assistant coaches and then all these people and then the players. No, I delegate this. How the fuck was I supposed to know that? Anyways, my point is, like with Deflategate. Mm-hmm. Okay, we think something, we don't have any proof, but there's not enough. A fine.
Yeah, give him a fine.
A fine.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't know.
And that one specifically is just the bullets. We learned that other top quarterbacks in the leagues like to overinflate, like to underinflate, like to do these things, and we know they did it on a consistent basis. All that came out in the report. Yes. So then, if you're going to discipline one, you have to discipline more.
You have to discipline them all.
It didn't happen. So inconsistencies again in the NFL, we know that exists. But trying to go with it and say who gets what, when, and where, right? Domestic violence. Oh, and one other point. I don't think legal proceedings and charges need to perfectly coexist with the discipline of the NFL. I think those are separate entities. I think you can discipline somebody in a strict manner when there aren't legal proceedings.
Okay.
And sometimes the legal proceedings may have enough of an impact on their games missed in salary that you don't need to necessarily hit them harder when they're done with those.
So you don't think that if Joe has been charged and he's in the middle of legal proceedings, you don't think that should affect how they discipline?
I just think they're separate matters. You take it into consideration, right? But you're like this. So-and-so gets caught with possession of some drug. Possession, not intent to sell, possession of some drug. Because of legal proceedings, because of things going on, he misses 2 games. He wasn't suspended, but he misses 2 games because of all these over the year. Maybe not back-to-back, but over the season, he misses a couple of games and some practices and things. Well, he's not getting paid when you don't show. If you miss for those reasons, you don't get paid.
Right, but you said they're separate, so they still have to.
So you can. I think you can take it into consideration, but you don't necessarily have to be like, okay, well, he did these things. All right, well, we're going to hit him with a little bit of a fine because he still missed 2 games. So that encompasses into the 2. So
I think with those kinds of things, regardless if it's domestic violence, if it's drugs, if it's whatever, not whatever. This is a blanket statement. First offense, fine, probation effectively. Because if it happens again,
then you're screwed.
It's heavier.
Right.
They have to clean this up. They have to clean this up because it's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. And then everyone's going to get mad and blah, 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 blah. So what is the standard?
Yeah.
And I don't know what the NFLPA thinks about it. Have they come out and said anything?
I haven't seen on this one yet. Yeah, I haven't seen on this one yet.
Because they work so hard to protect player interest.
Yeah. Well, that's my thing. I was saying this. This was like, why is it taking so long for the NFL to do something? Like, seriously, it's not that. It's a big organization, but seriously, it's on the forefront. He's on the exempt list. You walk in, it's a 5-minute meeting.
Yeah.
Like we discussed, seriously, it's a 5-minute meeting. He did this. Does he have a history? No. Here's a video. Here's a deal. It's assault. It's these things. Great. Again, this comes back to having some consistency across the board with discipline. But you do that. Okay. $200,000 fine. He misses 2 games. If it happens again, he's doubled. If it happens again, we double it. Or whatever the games. I'm just saying that, not that should be the discipline, but great. Here's a discipline. Here's a deal. Put it in the discipline. Should this happen, the next time it's doubled.
It is a business.
Right.
And so I know they have to consider what the outcry is going to be, but they can't, to me, I don't think they have to gauge everything on, well, if we don't give him 8 games, everyone's going to be pissed.
Right.
You just I think we do that too often now.
Yeah.
There's so many situations that have been in basketball, in football. I don't know baseball specifically, but it's like, oh, somebody did something or said something. Everybody's pissed, so they got to lose their franchise. They got to lose their job.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. Just because you're offended.
Yeah.
Offended is one thing. But this, again, if they say, we're going to take this stance, we're going to look at them all across the board. This situation sucks.
Mm-hmm.
We don't agree with it. We just don't think it's a reason to take somebody's livelihood.
Right.
So whatever repercussions he's going to have legally, he's going to have to deal with on his own. But in terms of our business, we're going to give him a fine because depending on what he violated in terms of their rules and their laws. And then suspend him, blah, 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 according to our rules.
Yeah.
And that's it. Well, that's what it is.
Yeah. And then you can always, as they've done a bunch of times in the past, if there's a massive outcry that there should be more and should be this and should be blah, 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 all this other kind of nonsense, you deal with it in the offseason. In the offseason, you address it, make your public statements. Here's our new policy. Here's how it's going to work, and you go.
Mm-hmm. And
it can still be zero tolerance policy. It's just zero. Again, zero tolerance doesn't mean one small act and you're gone, one big act and you're gone. The definition of zero tolerance doesn't mean it's
end all be all.
Yeah, it's a black and white honk. You're on the chopping block and you're done. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to see some consistency from them.
I think that's where the NFL is screwed too, because they know, no matter what it is, they have so many different people. You're going to get rid of everybody.
Yeah.
Not everybody. I'm good.
No, I mean, you'll get rid of a large percentage of people for doing little things that people just do. So,
and there's always that argument of even like marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
And it's legal in some places and whatever, but some people, again, it's how they look the other way. It's just a joint, or it's just, I mean, if that's all he's doing, it's not a big deal, right?
Yeah.
So, again, when do we pick and choose? Okay, so everybody who smokes weed, you're out. What?
You toast.
Okay, everyone's going to take a drug test. Everybody who's on any kind of drugs, you're out. Come on. This is the NFL.
Yeah, you're not, I mean, that's just being unrealistic.
It's stupid.
Yeah, it's being unrealistic. And as much as I'm against using PEDs in these situations, because I think using a PED changes the game far more than, 1.5 PSI on a football.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right.
But, hey, if that's what they do, that's what they want to do, that's their deal. I'm just saying develop some consistency, be firm on it. Yeah. Right?
Yep.
And so on the last little bit, I want to hit on personal accountability in the situations of violence.
Oh.
Domestic violence or violence against the opposite gender. From a biological standpoint, not a psychological standpoint. Okay. Meaning appropriate gender to what you were born with, right? Not that you're a girl now, you want to go get in the fight with the guy so you feel like a guy, but then the guy you fought wants to feel like a girl, so there's no fluidity in the gender going back and forth, okay?
Okay.
Because Kareem Hunt could come out and say, you know what? No, I just felt like a woman when I did it, so then now it's all changed.
Oh.
Right?
Okay, so go on.
Okay, so appropriate. What is, in your opinion, the responsibility or the accountability of each gender in these situations? Wow. What is a man to do if a woman is aggressive to him? Be it their significant other, their spouse, their partner, their girlfriend.
Well, what I don't like about this, what I really don't like about this is, again, if, let's say it's you and me. Mm-hmm. You say something, blah, blah, or I'm pissed. I start shoving you. Now, I'm all of 100 pounds.
Yeah.
You're 200 plus pounds and super strong.
Yeah.
What are you supposed to do? Okay, so if you grab me, even if you just grab my wrists, and I want to be whatever, you left bruises on my wrists.
Yep, I'm screwed.
You're screwed, right? I'm shoving you. I'm shoving you into the shelf. I'm shoving you, whatever. I'm shoving you towards the knives, and you're like, dude, get off. And you shove me. Assault.
Yeah.
I don't agree.
Right. And that's the thing is, what am I supposed to do that? If my responsibility is to exit, and I've got to go through you to exit, am I supposed to like turn and try to run circles and try to juke you out so I can get out of the door?
Well,
like what's the
because
catch?
once it escalates to that point,
right?
I believe that the woman they're going to be up in your face, and they're not going to, they could be yanking on a shirt. They could be grabbing your arm. They could be whatever. And again, in heated moments, nobody's really thinking straight.
Right.
Nobody.
Which is an important point.
You're supposed to say, please get off of me. I'm like a spider monkey jumping on you, and you're like, please, I need you to get off of me.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. Right? So we're supposed to be equal, but we put all the responsibility on the man. You have to be a man and just walk out. Okay, but I'm punching you in the ear on your way out.
I'm jumping on you, grabbing on you, pulling on your clothes,
bit your
all this
ear,
kind of stuff. And I can't do anything to make you get off because that's assault. Right? That's domestic violence.
You have a right to protect yourself.
Right.
So if that's the standard, if it's, if you as a woman, I can claim assault or whatever if I feel like I'm threatened. Mm-hmm. If it was an unwarranted touching, that's assault. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Because
at any moment in time, be like, oh, he touched my arm, I just didn't like it.
Right.
No. Okay. No. So like with guns,
mm-hmm.
Did you feel threatened? Did your person, did you feel like you were in harm's way?
Yeah.
Okay. So why do men not get that right?
Right. It should be a situation that if you're doing that, you're coming, you're screaming, you're shoving, kind of this, not really punching any of this stuff. Do I feel threatened? No. At the end of the day, you are not going to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not threatened you're going to kill me. Do I feel threatened that you might try to claw my eyes out? That you might cause some level of bodily harm to me?
Right.
Yes. So if I were to grab you, put you in a position to pin you down until authorities can get there,
mm-hmm.
and it bruises your two wrists,
mm-hmm.
maybe because I have you on the floor, you get a slight bruise on your something, whatever impacts the shoulder, whatever impacts the ground,
mm-hmm.
right? And then you have a bruise wherever I have my knee on your back
mm-hmm.
or your chest or wherever, right?
Yeah.
Well, why is that wrong? Why is that wrong?
I don't think it is, and I'm going to get slammed for that, but we have, as women, again, if we want to be equal, we have to have some sort of accountability for our own actions.
Right.
I can't say, well, because I think a lot of people do this to other people, not just women to men, men to women, that I know, we'll take it in customer service.
Right.
I know I can say this and push, because as the manager, he can't say anything.
Right.
Because if he does, then I'm going to scream this and scream that. And if I yell enough, they'll give in.
Yep.
We know that. We've been conditioned to learn that at this point, right? So if I know that he's not going to hit me, and if he does,
I win everything.
I get everything.
Yep.
Right? Or, I said you just see it too often. And I see it now too, now that I'm in a public school. Boom, right up in the face. Bah, 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 bah. Like, what are you going to do? Yep. What are you going to do? That statement right there, we know.
Yeah.
The second you touch me, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
And life a lot now is a lot about that power, the power struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you feel suppressed or whether you feel like whatever the situation is. Anytime, like even people in traffic.
Yeah.
Why do they want to cut you off? Or because they feel like there's some need that they need to be like, screw you. Yeah. I'm not letting you go.
Yeah. Why? Like, what does it matter?
So that's my point. It's the psychology of it. And so I don't think anybody should have it shouldn't be so one-sided.
Right.
You have to have, no, if I am in your face, you don't have the right to punch me. No.
Yeah.
That's not the way the law looks at everything, kind of like, what did you expect was going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
What did you think was going to happen?
And I don't think that's in the law enough, but that has to be the bottom deal. Anytime you take an action towards another person, mm-hmm. no matter what it is, positive, negative, what was the intent and what would you expect a reasonable reaction to be?
Yes, that's the words I was looking for. A reasonable person would be expected to.
And in law, when it is a man and a woman, it doesn't follow the standards.
It's not equal. So even look at all different situations. If I'm with my kids and I feel like you're looking at my kid funny, I'm going to come up and punch you in the face.
Right.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't agree with it. I think it needs to be seriously looked at. I don't think men really ever need to punch a woman, right?
No.
But I've literally seen women ball up their fists and punch a man in the face.
Right.
What do you assaulted him.
Even when you say that, I'm going to catch so much fucking hate for this. Even when you say that, if a woman comes up to a man, forget size, forget any of those things, and balls up their fist and punches them in the face, that's a fight.
Yeah.
It's a fight. You just said, I want to attack you. I want to beat you physically. I want to do whatever the hell all of those things mean by coming to aggressing. It's over. Why can't the other person on the side of a punch in the face punch back?
Right, because at the end of the day, like, and of course, a lot of these things I've seen were at nighttime and probably like out drinking, partying, right? Give some accountability to the woman. Okay, what did he do or say that you felt you needed to punch him in the face?
Right.
He's still a person. Why did you feel like this person needed to be on the other side of your fist?
Right.
And you can't, well, he can't hit me back because he's so big. Well, why did you get to, I don't.
Yeah, why do you get a pass to be aggressive and assault someone because of your size?
Right.
So what does that mean? You know, what does that even mean?
I don't agree with it. I'm sure I'll get heat for it, but I just don't think from the accountability perspective, you cannot people cannot just assault people with no recourse.
Right.
You cannot put all of it on the man to say, well, you're the man, so you just got to sit back and take it.
I just think that's wrong.
I think it's wrong in a lot of ways. And
in saying that, let me expand on that very quickly. In a situation that a man is attacked by a woman and the woman is clearly smaller in all of those situations that we generally talk about, it is the responsibility of the man to be measured in his response. Girl comes up, bam. If he pushes and shoves or hits one time and the situation is cleared, done. If you advance, that's different.
Right.
So there has to be, I hate to say, a measured response in a highly emotional, possibly inebriated situation, but it has to be measured. Like you can go overboard really quick.
Right. Just like, again, we talk about guns. It's this whole thing, like when they busted through my door or they're knocking on my door, what did I feel in that moment?
Right.
And what did I feel like I needed to do?
Right.
Right. So in that moment, no, that's not a gun and that's not feeling super threatened. But as a man, like I said, I don't ever think punching a woman is appropriate, but you should have the ability to restrain, clear space, restrain, whatever. You know, if you need to get through that door, and let's be, I mean, there's women that come at men with knives. Yeah. They come at you with keys. They come at you with shit they're throwing at you.
These spike nails.
Oh, hell no.
I know a lot of guys that have scars across their face because some girl was drunk at a bar.
No. You don't get to throw a beer bottle at my head. And I'm just like,
yeah.
Cool.
Hey, let me turn my back to you now and walk away. That's not wise.
So yes, I think from the accountability perspective, we have to really start looking at that, and it can't be. I'm sick of the victim mentality anyway.
Yeah.
So because you're taking away from people who are actually victimized, everything can't be like, oh my God, he touched me.
Yeah.
No.
Can't do it.
No.
Yeah.
So, I'll welcome all the hate mail for that one, but.
Oh, I'm gonna collect a pretty good amount of hate for this one today.
But I mean, that's what I don't understand though. If you don't think that people should be accountable for their own actions, that's a problem.
It's a big problem.
That's you're getting into being entitled.
Yeah. But that's where we are.
I I've told my boys, and you're gonna hate me for this. Just like let's put it the other way. When people always say, "Well, I always tell my kids, you don't start the fight, but you can sure finish it." Right? People say that all the time.
All the time.
Right? Which is fine. I've told my kids, there's always a way out.
Yeah.
But if you feel threatened, you absolutely punch your way out of it.
Yeah.
What else are you supposed to do?
Right.
Right? If a girl is going to punch my son in the face, he's not walking away.
No.
Well, he might at this age because he's kind of.
Well, yeah, but
you don't get. I'm not going to teach him to fight back. That's not what I'm saying. And please don't
they
take
will know. They will know to appropriately to defend themselves.
To defend themselves, please, and don't take it the wrong way. I'm not saying if a girl punches you, punch her back. No, I'm teaching them that it's not okay.
Right.
It is not okay for anybody to assault you.
Right.
So assess the situation and do what you need to do. Is she going to continue to advance at you and to try to beat you? Then yeah, you defend yourself.
Yeah.
If she punches you once and you're like, and then get the F out of there, do it. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is you don't get to attack my child just because you're a girl and he's a boy.
Right.
And then he has to walk away. That's not happening.
It's not how it works.
That is not happening.
Yeah.
Because I've seen, like, even there was that one with it's 2 girls though, but where the girl was picking on the cheerleader. The girl was sitting down and this is pop, 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 and she beat the ever living hell out of her.
The cheerleader did, yeah.
Yeah, she did. So when you talk about big and smaller,
yeah,
right? So my older son is a little smaller. So let's say a bigger girl comes at him and is like, a pop. No, you're not gonna pop my kid in the face
and expect nothing.
He's 80 pounds. Yeah. You're 150.
Yeah.
So okay, you want to talk about size? If we're talking people to people, ratio wise, you to me, that's not right.
Right. And that's what I'm saying is like we're going to get into, there was an assault. So, okay, everybody stand on the scale. Let's check your body mass.
Yeah.
Let's do a hormone panel. Let's see. I mean, is that like where it's going? You know? Oh, well, you have 3% more testosterone than them and you weigh 4 pounds more in lean mass. So you clearly were the wrong. Like, is that where it's going? Just fuck is this crazy?
How about you just teach your kids and you yourself just be cool?
Very seldom is there any reason to start a physical altercation.
Yeah, I mean, when I look back at all what is there? Now, if I find out somebody sexually assaulted my child, I'm beating the shit out of you.
Well, possibly a reason.
Right. So
very seldom is there truly a reason to start a physical altercation in your normal day-to-day life.
That is correct.
Oh, well, so-and-so's cheating on me. I'm going to go beat their ass. Why?
Why?
Really, why?
At the end of the day, what is it?
You want them back?
Right.
You really want, that's what you want in your life?
And I'm going to beat the guy or the girl. Like, they probably didn't even know, like, who you beat. What's the point?
Right.
Yes, it is very rare that you actually need to physically get into it with somebody. Kareem, bad choice.
Super bad choice.
At no point should you have shoved and kicked a girl.
Even that first push.
Yeah.
Even the first, the guy, I'm assuming it was his friend, was in between them, and he still went around and was like, boom, to her shoulder.
Yeah.
And
again, because he's going out of his way to harm her. That's.
I will go out on a limb and say this in closing. I feel like that is Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
Because watching the video and knowing patterns and studying these things my whole life, he was doing things that he has done before. Not necessarily to a woman, but he has definitely been in situations like that multiple times and done that the way he went around, the way he shoved, the way he advanced, the way all that kind of stuff. That was not someone who was new to that game.
Yeah. I'll see how it all shakes out.
Yeah, it'll come out. Yeah. So that's it.
This was a bad one.
Well, it's not a happy-go-lucky one, right? It's not a happy-go-lucky one. But I just think sometimes people need to say stuff like this. You got to talk about these things.
Yeah.
You have to put these things out there, and you got to talk about accountability.
It can't be reactionary when one situation comes out. Well, now I'm mad. Which is it? Do we care or do we not care?
Exactly.
And are we saying it's okay to hit for girls to hit boys, or is it not? Is it okay for men to hit women, or is it not? What's the level? What are we saying here?
Right.
And you can't just say, well, no. Well, yeah, no. Nobody wants anyone to get punched in the face.
Right.
But what do we do?
Exactly.
What do we do?
Because people are going to do it.
And how do we properly punish? How do people? I don't know that people who do it necessarily stop.
Right.
So that's the other thing. It's
Interesting
a cycle.
Stuff. It is a cycle.
Okay. Send me the hate mail.
I know. Yeah, I'm gonna get ready. I might have to start filtering.
Ho ho ho.
Ho ho ho. Awesome. So thank you everybody for watching us.
Or listening.
I keep
later. Forgetting.
It's still there's so many more listen than watch.
There are so many more listeners, so I have to be aware of that.
Yeah. That's always when I do the finger quotes, the air quotes, I say in quotations or quotes.
Oh, yeah.
people that aren't watching have no idea what
A lot of people listen.
Yes. Awesome.
So thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for joining.
Peace.
Peace, everybody.
Peace.